Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm honored to present Michael Hoppé to you. Michael will be our guest speaker this morning, as well as our musician. And you will learn more about Michael later. He's now going to play his own composition, Renouncement.
This used to be written for a cello, so I'm now playing a solo piano version. Thank you.
Michael, thank you. What a lovely, lovely way to start the morning. Thank you. Well, let's see. Welcome to the, this is a mouthful, so welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. I got it right. We're delighted that you've chosen to spend your Sunday morning with us, whether you're on Zoom or whether you're here in person. And whether you're a long-time member, whether you're a recent member, whether you're just passing through San Miguel and wanted to come to a UU service, we're delighted to have you. So, and if you're a San Miguel resident who's come to services before and wants to come again, welcome back. And we hope to see more of you. My name is Linda Soren, and I'm a member of the Sunday Service Committee and the Finance Committee, and I will be our service leader this morning. Ours is a lay-led fellowship, and we put a lot of emphasis on social action, and as a result, much of our budget, or monetarily and volunteer-wise, we give back to the community that has accepted us. And that's really a very important part of our mission. And we constantly strive to improve the needs of our members. We want to hear from you about what's working, what we can do better, and you can send your comments about the fellowship to our board vice president, Lee Knox, and her email is on the order of service. Let's see, did I forget anything here? Our flowers today are presented by Ellie Goodwin, and they will be brought to a member chosen by the care team who is under the care of the care team. If you would like to provide flowers, please see our head usher, Diana Weiner. And Diana, can you if you turn around, you'll see her waving. So if you want to do some flowers, you can find Diana later. Finally, please check the order of service on our website, UUFSMA.org, to see the various events sponsored by the fellowship and information on how to become a member. We also record our Sunday service. And if you want to hear past services, just go to YouTube and go to UUFSMA and you will find them. And our opening words are by Gordon B. McKeeman. How does one address a mystery? Cautiously. Let us go cautiously, then, to the end of our certainty, to the boundary of all. Reverently. Let us go with a sense of awe, a feeling of approaching the powerful, holy, whose lightning slashes the sky, whose persistence splits the concrete with green sprouts, whose miracles are present in every place and moment. Hopefully, out of our need for wholeness in our own lives, the reconciliation of mind and heart, the conjunction of reason and passion, the intersection of the timeless with time. Quietly, for no words will explain the inarticulate or summon the presence that is always present, even in our absence. But what shall I say? Anything. Any anger, any hope, any fear, any joy, any request, any word that comes from the depth of being and addresses to being itself, or perhaps nothing. No complaint, no request, no entreaty, no thanksgiving, no praise, no blame, no pretense of knowing or of not knowing. Simply be in the intimate presence of mystery, unashamed, unadorned, unafraid, and at the end say, Amen. Now Kathy will light the chalice. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith, a faith built on the foundations of freedom, reason, and welcome, a faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice, a faith that envisions a world flourishing with equality for all people, a faith that demands the living out of goodness, a faith that requires thoughtfulness, a faith of wholeness. This tiny flame is the symbol of the spark of all this within each of us. Let's join our voices together in song hymn number 123, Spirit of Life, in English and then in Spanish. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and remain standing for the covenant. The words will appear on the screen. Be seated.
Or not. Would you please, please stand as we recite together our covenant.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Gave you a little bit of extra exercise. Let's take a minute to slowly and thoughtfully recite our covenant. We do it every week, and lots of times we just say the words and kind of run through them. So let's think about what we're saying this morning. And together we recite, we respect the interdependence web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. And Kathy is our covenant. And Kathy will now do it in Spanish.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio. Please be seated again. Linda, come on back. I need your help.
This is like an amateur hour this morning, sorry.
That's okay. We're going to do the lighting.
Yes, okay.
So you can put the book down, and you're going to be lighting when I talk. Okay. Hi, my name is Kathy Canepa, and I'm a member of the Sunday Service Committee, and I'm helping out as our assistant service leader today. This is the time in our service when members and friends can share significant joys, sorrows, and concerns with the community. For each, we light a candle representing that joy or concern is held by everybody in the community this morning, here and on Zoom. If you would like a joy or concern shared in the future, you can email our Reverend Tom Rosiello beforehand, or fill out a card, as some of you did this morning. And if you are on Zoom, please feel free to write one into the chat box. We light our first candle of love and support for our beloved member and president, Joan Wolfe, who is undergoing medical tests and awaiting surgery to remove a tumor. She is pleased that she is able to get the medical care she needs. Thank you. And that she is getting that medical care at an excellent hospital in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where she has the loving support of nearby family and friends. Our healing thoughts and best wishes go out to her. And I also received a card this morning, blessings and healing love to Joan Wolfe, our dear sister from Mis Hermanas, which is her women's group here. We also light a candle of support for the recovery of Kathleen Bennett, who had a knee replacement, and I see a card from her this morning that she is actually here today and driving again, living alone after a full knee replacement in Texas 2.5 weeks ago. And welcome. And I knew from the care team, she said she didn't need food or transportation, but she would love words from the wise to cheer her along in her recovery. Her email will be in the chat box now, or you can email me, and my email is on the order of service, and I can give you her email. And I have a candle of joy, which I think is also from the 13 of us who last Tuesday went on a wonderful day trip, hopefully the first of many, to help us get to know each other more and make deeper relationships. It was organized by Diana Weiner. Thank you so much. It was great. We have a candle of continued support and hope for the good progress of Donna Shoebrooks, Robin Loving, and Diana Amaya. And good luck to Susan McDonald as she pursues arranging for surgery next week in the US. We also have some cards from this morning. One from Bob Hawkins, celebrating the birth of Howie Rupert Hawkins on Saturday, third son of Ryan and Larissa, and my 6th grandson. Congrats. And our daughter Sarah married Nick at Villas Ichu Friday a week ago, Mike and Donna Morgan. Great. Hi. And father of close friend was admitted to the hospital for amputation of toes, possibly not doing well and disoriented. We will hold you in our hearts. I'm going to check chat if anybody has written one in. Healing good thoughts for Judy Rosenthal. And we light our blue and yellow candle again today for all those who are suffering from the relentless war in Ukraine. But today, let it also be a candle of remembrance for Memorial Day. These words are adapted from Archibald MacLeish. The young dead soldiers do not speak. They have a silence that speaks for them at night when the clock counts. They say, "We were young, we died, remember us." This Memorial Day, let's remember all those who answered the call to serve their country and were sent forth into the danger and horror of war. Let us remember them whether or not we believe a particular war or conflict was justified. We do not celebrate war this day. We observe a time of remembrance. May our remembering inspire in us a deep yearning for peace and a commitment to end all war. Our last candle is for all of those joys and concerns held in our hearts but not spoken aloud in this room today. Now, during the musical meditation, you may come forward in 2 lines to light a candle in silence for any joy or concern that you hold dear in your heart. Please join me from your seats in responsive reading number 607, Beloved Presence, by Mohammed Hafiz. The words will appear on the screen. I will read the blue, and please respond with the brown. Cloak yourself in 1,000 ways, still shall I know you, my beloved. With commitment, and yet shall I feel you, presence most dear, I shall salute you in the springing of cypresses and the sheen of lakes, the laughter of fountains. I shall service to you, among the clouds, in writing your goodness. O beloved presence, more beautiful than all the stars together. I trace your face in morning flaming of the mountains, in the clear arch of the sky. You gladden the whole earth and make every heart great. You are the breathing of the world. Thank you. While we are setting up chairs for the next part of our service, I wanted to ask if we have any visitors here today, if you would please stand so that we can see who you are and personally invite you over to coffee hour afterwards and greet you. Please don't be shy. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. And if we have any visitors on Zoom, please write your name and where you're from into the chat box, and that way we can personally greet you in discussion room after the service.
I'm on. Okay.
It's such a pleasure to be here this morning, but I don't think the mic is working.
Can you?
Is it on now? Not yet.
Do you switch it on?
It is on. I've got to speak closer to the mic.
Okay.
Well, it is a big pleasure for me. I'm Jurgen Ahlers, by the way, to introduce who has become a very good friend of mine, Miguel Hoppé. Just for those of you who've been like me mispronouncing his name for a long time, is Hoppé.
Accent aigu. Okay, okay.
But Michael is very patient. He doesn't correct me, just like I don't correct when people say my name, which is a little bit strange. But anyway, Michael and I have actually known each other before we knew each other, or at least I knew of him, of course, before I met him. With this wonderful album, Afterglow. I don't know if you all have had the incredible delight of listening to this composition, this CD, Afterglow. It has received more than 20 million hits on Spotify. That's close to being a record. I mean, that's a big, big number of folk who have enjoyed this piece. I use it actually in one of my sound journeys in my sound spa. Some of you already have experienced it. Many of you have experienced Michael's music just last year during the Day of the Dead, when his magnificent Requiem was performed twice to sold-out performances. Many of you were there, I know, and it was such a delight to see the chorus and the chamber orchestra playing this magnificent, very moving piece, Requiem for the Dead. I would say that Michael's music, well, I would first say that he was born in Britain, and so you will quickly detect where he's from with his accent. But it was so delightful when I met him here in San Miguel that he also spent much of his time in Hamburg, my birth city, the city I grew up in, as an executive of Polydor Records. So that was a special joy, just to have that mutual background in that beautiful city of Hamburg. He and his lovely wife, whom I hope you will greet after the service, have been living in San Miguel for several years and have now decided to make San Miguel their permanent home. We're very, very blessed to have
Thank you, Jurgen.
us.
Yeah, well, it was Monica's decision to move here, and I'm very grateful she made that decision.
You know, when I listen to your music, just as you played it at the beginning with renouncement, I couldn't help but allow my heart to soar. I closed my eyes. I just had to take it in with the magnificent cadence and somehow I was just in tune with it. And I can't put more than that into words, but I really felt it very, very deeply. And I think that if we use the word, you know, the topic of our subject this morning is music as the power or the energy of the spirit, the human spirit. And inspire in spirit means to enliven, to delight, to exalt, to breathe in. And even though those words are magnificent, they don't do justice to how moving music can really be to all of us. So as you know, one of our dear principles is our search for truth and meaning, as we repeated it this morning in the covenant. And that is what Michael and I are going to be doing, is putting some meaning behind the beauty of music and how it gets created. So I'm going to ask Michael just a few questions, and Michael will have the freedom to respond both in words but also in music. That's why he's sitting close to the piano.
Right. All right.
I would like to make the first question. You know, as I said, the renouncement, the prelude that he played, was so deeply emotional to me that I was wondering, how does emotion play into your composing?
Well, thanks, Jurgen, and thank you very much, UU, for inviting Monica and myself here. It's a great pleasure. You know, Jurgen and I have met for this particular session today. We've actually met twice in our home because Jurgen wanted to make sure that I was going to say something sensible. So I've been trying really hard to think how I do what I do. I'm very instinctive, and I don't plan really anything at all. But one of the elements, perhaps the major element that drives my music is emotion. When I feel it, I can do it. If I can't, I cannot. It's as simple as that. And so when you heard this morning Renouncement, it was originally for a cello player. In fact, it's one of the tracks on an album called The Poet, which I have out there. And the first sort of ding bong, okay, that's because I could hear a cello. So you said, well, Michael, how on earth did you actually do Renouncement? Well, all I had to do in my head was to imagine that I was a cello. And I could, and I do. I can hear how the sonority of a cello sounds, and I think, yes, that octave D bond, but that would sound very nice. Okay, now, Michael, where are you going to go from there? You're in the key of D major. How are you going to go from there? And, you know, it's all emotion, and I can sort of feel where it's going, or not. And in this particular piece, I could. And, I mean, really, as I've said, it drives me completely. I don't think about what I'm doing, and I don't actually write what I'm doing. So you think, really? You're meant to be a composer, man, don't you write? No, I don't. I record it. I record bits of it. Then the next day, I listen to see if I like what I've actually recorded. Usually it's nothing. Usually it's a journey that goes nowhere. But sometimes I think, yes, it is absolutely as good as I thought it was the previous day. And then I complete something. And that's how I make a song.
Wow, that is great. In your Requiem, can you share with us how you came to conceive this magnificent piece?
Well, thanks, Jurgen. As you can imagine, for anybody, let alone a composer, writing a requiem is daunting. And I sort of thought, well, I can't get my head around that for now, but I do love, Mozart's requiem and Fauré and all the boys. So I thought, okay, I'll put that aside. And then something practical happened. One always needs an element of practicality in this business. You can't dream forever. You need actually something to sort of pin you down. And Monica's mother had died in Spain, and she was having a memoriam. And so I thought, well, okay, come on, Michael. Now you try and do something for your mother-in-law, who you loved a lot. And I did. And I thought, well, when I was at Polygram, I was an executive, and I was involved with Andrew Lloyd Webber. And Andrew did a most beautiful Pie Jesu for his own requiem. And I never forgot that. It's a lovely piece. So I thought, right, Andrew, you've done yours. I'm going to do mine. And I'm going to do mine for my wife's mother. So I had a Pie Jesu. It's not difficult. It's very easy, like this. So it's very simple, and I love simplicity. As anybody who knows my music, it's not cerebral, ironic, nothing like that. No. It's pure heart music, like straight to the heart and then some. So this simple tune became the Pie Jesu. It was then made into the part of the Requiem, as you heard on last November. But it started off as a solo soprano piece. La-dee-da. Oh, well, that's nice. I thought, yes, that's very good. And so that was how I started. After that, I had to sort of, well, Michael, you've begun a Requiem. And I thought, oh, my Lord, what am I going to do now? And I've got, 7 or 8 more pieces to do. But life is very strange. You never can completely organize the journey of creativity. You never quite know what's going to happen. And I said to Jurgen, I'm going to just talk. I won't play the whole piece. I'll just talk about one particular piece, which is my favorite piece in the Requiem. It's called the Agnus Dei. Agnus Dei. Well, Monica and I, we had just been in Korea, where I perform quite often there. And we had come back, and now we were in LA. That's where we were living. No, Portland. We were in Portland. And at that time, between Korea and Japan, they had a huge diplomatic bad stuff going on. It was because of a tiny little island, tiny, it's like a bird sanctuary. It's called Dokdo. And it lies between Korea and Japan. And they are furious with each other that they both felt that they owned it. Well, okay, so Monica and I back in Portland, and I was thinking about this story. And in the garden were wind chimes banging and clanging away. And I thought, look at that. This story and this banging and clanging wind chimes, and they were in the Asian scale, this. Those are banging away in the background. I thought, look at that. Ding dong, bang, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And I gradually began to float out with the sound of these wind chimes. And they were Asian scale, and all I could hear is the tension that was between these two countries that we had just left. And I thought, look at that. And I made a prayer for Dokdo, this tiny island. Here's the tune. a prayer, a piano piece. And several years later, as I was pondering what to do with the Requiem, I thought, look at that. Agnus Dei qui sole. Look at that. It's a perfect match. That's how I did Agnus Dei. It all began with the wind chimes.
You know, just listening to that, Michael, and when you did the Pie Jesus, just those few chords, the words came to me hauntingly beautiful. And even though those words don't fully express, I feel it, and I'm sure you all join me, you feel it deeply within your own heart. Hauntingly beautiful. And it seems to me that you kind of lean into that which you're not quite sure where it's leading, but there's something that touches you profoundly, even like those wind chimes, but something, you lean into the unknown. Would you say something about that?
Well, it's all about being open and also very awake. You can't sort of be hungover or anything like this. You've got to be really awake. So quite frankly, I've got to tell you a secret. Every morning, I go to my piano in my jammies. I completely, just had the coffee, and I'm starting again at the piano at about 8:30, and I'm completely awake, and I completely am interested in what I'm doing. If you have any element of boredom when you're trying to create, big negative. So you try and be fascinated by what you're doing. It doesn't always work, often not. And inspiration comes about because, for me, very often as an accident, my hand hits the wrong note. But guess what? That's the note that's interesting in all this. So you go back and start the journey again. It's all a journey. And sometimes, very often, you hit a brick wall. You hit a dead end. Nothing comes out of it. But sometimes you think, gosh, like you just heard, la, 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 la. Yes, now that can go somewhere. That can go somewhere. So this is where it went, for this particular tune.
Take your time.
So a lot of what I do is instinctively about peace. I don't like noise, actually. I don't like anything aggressive. And I always instinctively go towards peace. So how you ended up with the wind chimes ending up in that nice, peaceful D major chord, it's all about peace.
Yeah. It was interesting just listening to that piece. And that was also with Renouncement this morning. That there were times that I absolutely felt completely in tune with you and even the next note. It somehow led me to completely identify with you, to connect with you in that moment, even though I wasn't that familiar with it. I'm sure, again, I'm speaking for many people who are here this morning. There's something about music that I think deeply connects, maybe as a theologian I might call that soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my music may have soul, but of course it's not soul in the musical sense, but it has that. But you know, everybody, I don't try and get or have soul or spiritual meanings of anything at all. It doesn't come to me like that. The music may result in that, but I'm doing it ultimately really for myself. So when I'm moved enough, then I will let it go, and I will let other people possibly enjoy it. But it is always done actually for me. And so that I'm on the same wavelength as a human being with so many of you who enjoy my music, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Then we're all saying hello to each other.
When I hear you talk, I'm reminded of a musician that I'm sure, a composer that I'm sure is familiar with many of you, namely Vangelis. In our friendship, as it has unfolded over the last couple of years with Michael, I've discovered that Michael and Vangelis were good friends. And Vangelis was also totally spontaneous. You know, he wrote numbers of scores for movies. He won the Oscar for Blade Runner, I believe it was. And what he does is he looks at the video, the screen, and he intuitively is in tune with that, and he composes right along with that.
Yeah,
and Michael, you...
Yeah, I mean, Vangelis was an extraordinary person. I had the honor to sign him when I was at Polygram, and he encouraged me to leave the company. He encouraged me. He said, come on, Michael, get your act together, leave the company and start doing your own music. And he had actually never heard. He'd only ever heard one piece. So he drove me out, really, of the corporate life. And, but he was instinctive. As I said very, very quickly, I was with him when he was with Ridley Scott, you know, the director. They were doing Blade Runner. And Ridley had the screen out all the way up, said, right, come on, V, do your music, please, and let me see how you go. And Vangelis, who wasn't actually able to read, let alone read music, so he said, well, okay, so let me look at the picture. Yep, okay, yep, press play, press record, off I go, boof, and it was perfect, perfect. He would do it over 2.5 minutes, perfect Vangelis music to the scene from Blade Runner. And then Ridley said, oh, well, man, that's really good. Well, thank you. That's really good. I need to edit it. What? I need to edit it and change it. No, you can't. Well, I do. No, you can't. I don't play it again. Well, can't you play it again? No, I cannot. I cannot play it again. So basically, Vangelis was he was a one-take person. Now, I'm not a one-take person, but I'm also in the same world that he's in. And you got the machine on? What's happened to it?
We may have gotten a disconnection. Oh, now it's working.
It's okay.
No, his is not working. Mine is working.
Okay. Thank you. Bingo. Right, got it. So Vangelis was completely magical, but he couldn't do anything twice. That was it. Okay.
Michael, you know, and some of you know that I'm very much into music as a healing element. How do you see music healing spiritually, mentally, physically, or in any other way?
Well, music, a certain type of music, can be like a balm. It can be like a sort of some feeling that you are being caressed. I love music that caresses. I do not, as I said earlier, like aggressive music. And yet people who like hip-hop or whatever it might be, they also feel, in some ways, protected by it. So I do music to I can never quite get out of my own head here, purely because I knew that Jurgen was going to ask me these sort of difficult questions. The music can end up by giving enormous help to so many people, which I just start originally in our living room by myself in my pajamas, is amazing. So it's an amazing honor, frankly, that this music has gone out there and has the effect that you've just described, Jurgen.
Thank you. Well, for me, I feel such a connection to when I really let go, when I allow my monkey mind to quiet down, and I really let go and really become one or unified with the music I'm listening to. What happens, and this has been scientifically proven, that there are certain endorphins release in your brain, dopamine, which makes you feel just light and elated and joyful. And Michael does that. He evokes this sense of connection to what I would call the cosmos, the universe, to all people. You know, I watched not too long ago a requiem on YouTube, and it wasn't Michael's, but it was another one, requiem, and it was actually done at the Peace Center in Greenville, South Carolina. And I was thinking, here was this magnificent chorus of about, I would say, 150 people, a full orchestra, and I was reflecting how diverse these people may be. You know, I've been living in the South for many years, so I know that in the South you have a lot of diversity and a lot of determined convictions, and yet when they sing together, when they play together, they are one. They are so in tune. And I was thinking how music can do this, how music can bring people together, people of different persuasions, but music somehow connects and heals and creates a sense of oneness.
Yes, and there's nothing like choral music to do that. And when you see, for me, it was one of the highlights of my life, Jurgen, when I heard these people singing my Requiem last November. I was very moved to tears, frankly, and it was everything. Yeah, emotion. Look, I'm going to play a tune here. I was, like all of us, the business of war. We're talking, Memorial Day now, tomorrow. The business of war in Ukraine and everything else that was going on there. I mean, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. Now, this is one of those places that I was feeling it. I was really feeling it. I thought, gosh, I can't believe it. So I sat at the piano and I did this piece called Dreaming in Blue and Yellow, Dreaming in Blue and Yellow. And my friend Martin Fletcher recently used one of the versions I did for a video that he was using, which NBC and Christie's in New York. And it's a beautiful book that he has just written, and this video was for the book. Teachers, it's called. And the music that he used for these extraordinary sad situations that he was confronted with throughout his illustrious career as a reporter, an NBC reporter. So Martin's stories were given an even added poignancy because of this music which I had done for Ukraine. I'll play it to you, Dreaming in Blue and Yellow.
So here's the song.
Well, as Michael and I have been in conversation frequently, and we could go on and on and on. However, we do know that we have to end this service, so we're going to also end this service with a dialogue. I want to make just briefly an announcement that Michael and Monica will be over there. Michael did bring some CDs, The Poet and Solace, 2 CDs that are among his more than 20 albums that he has released. One is for 300 pesos, and if you buy 2, it's 500 pesos. And unfortunately, we cannot accept credit cards. I want to close with a quote by Plato, of all people, on music. Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, charm and gaiety to life. Michael, it's been a great pleasure having you this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Well, this is the time in the service where we have our ritual of offering. We give to remind ourselves of all of the gifts that we have to give. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music, in sacred space, and in justice. And we give with the faith that together we are enough. The offering will now be gratefully received.
you, Paula. My goodness, we're surrounded by wonderful musicians this morning. And Michael, it is really an honor. And your music and your words were just very inspiring. Jurgen, you've got a job as a commentator. You're great. So thank you all. Now let's join our voices together in song for hymn number 83, Winds Be Still. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. The words will appear on the screen. Our closing words are by Maureen Killeran. As we listen to the blessing of music, may we know this ending as more than a time of goodbye. May the warmth of this community and the memory of our chalice flame sustain our hearts and encourage our minds as we engage the blessings of life's challenges and joys. The service has ended. Your service has begun. Go in peace. Go in joy. Go in love.